Welcome, you're watching Vox News, your daily news updates with Rita Kamkumo. Our headlines today: Nigeria imposes curfews in 13 states in total as civil unrest continues to spread in the country. The Cameroonian government blames separatists militants for the massacre of school children in the English-speaking city of Kumba. President Alpha Conde wins Guinea's disputed presidential election amid violent protests. Our top story today: Nigeria announced curfews on Sunday in the states of Kaduna, Akwa Ibom, Taraba and Plateau as social unrest that started 2 weeks ago continues in the country, bringing the number of curfews imposed to 13 states in total. After looting hit Lagos and Ede in the country's southwest, crowds of people looted and ransacked a government food warehouse on Saturday in the central Nigeria town of Jos.
What happened here today is that we came here and people were saying they have stored food. So we came here to see, and we saw many people packing food. So during the lockdown, they were just hiding the food. It makes me wonder what kind of government we have. We have been suffering and many people have died from hunger.
The food supplies were meant to be distributed during lockdowns imposed to contain the coronavirus pandemic.
This government doesn't tell the truth. They have been hiding this food since the lockdown. By now, they should have shared the food. Look, a mudu of millet is 250 naira and a mudu of maize is 300 naira. How will a poor man survive?
President Muhammadu Buhari on Sunday called for peace as the authorities were struggling to halt looting across the country. Peaceful protests against police brutality that erupted in Nigeria on the 8th of October have quickly turned into one of the biggest challenges to the authorities in decades. In neighboring Cameroon, people were in shock on Saturday after a massacre at a school in which at least 8 children were killed and a dozen injured, according to the United Nations. The attack targeted a bilingual school in the city of Kumba, located in the English-speaking southwest region of the country, plagued by a violent conflict between Anglophone separatists and government forces. Communications Minister René Emmanuel Sadi said that 10 people on motorbikes burst into the compound of the private Mother Francisca International Bilingual Academy and then coldly opened fire on the pupils who were in the classrooms. Local residents decided to march on Sunday following the massacre.
I lack words to express the feeling I had when I saw the corpses of these innocent children. Like a father, I think I would not have remained indifferent when I saw their lifeless bodies lying in the mortuary. Even from the school itself. It was a sad situation.
The Cameroonian government has blamed the attack on armed separatists and cleared the army of accusations of being involved in the massacre.
United we stand, divided we fall. United we stand, divided we fall. So let us be united, Kumba people, and take away anger from our society. Yes, they are our children. We are ready to receive them back to town as good boys and girls so that we can collaborate together with them. But not this kind of activities.
The African Union Commission Chief Musa Faki Mahamat has condemned the brutal attack, while opposition leader Maurice Kamto has denounced what he described as an absolute horror. In Angola, the authorities announced on Sunday that about 100 people were arrested following violent anti-government protests which took place over the weekend in the capital Luanda, attracting about 2,000 people. The Interior Ministry Secretary Salvador Rodriguez announced that 103 people, including politicians from the largest opposition UNITA party, were in detention and expected to appear in court this Monday. The opposition has accused the police of using excessive force, including tear gas, to quell the protests and demanded the unconditional release of all the arrested people. Protesters were demanding jobs and better living conditions and a new date for local government elections that were due this year but have been delayed due to the coronavirus pandemic. On the political front, President Alpha Conde won Guinea's disputed 2020 presidential election, setting the stage for a controversial third term, according to the results announced by the Electoral Commission on Saturday.
The election of the President of the Republic is achieved through an absolute majority from the votes cast. For instance, the candidate having received the highest number of votes is declared the winner. Consequently, the candidate Professor Alpha Conde of the Rally of the Guinean People is declared elected in the first round of the presidential election.
The 82-year-old president won 59% of the votes in the first round of the election of the 18th of October, defeating his longtime rival, opposition leader Sékou Conde Permanent.
Obtain Professor Alpha Conde RPG Arc-en-Ciel 2,438,815 or 59.49%. Mamadou Sékou Conde Diallo UFDG 1,373,320 or 33.50%. We seriously prepared for the elections and the result is given today. We are the winners with over 2 million people who voted for our candidate. It is a source of pride, a joy for us to be behind a candidate who brought the majority of Guineans with him.
The announcement of Conde's victory follows days of post-election violence in which around 10 people were killed in clashes across the country, which were suppressed by security forces.
It's a feeling of pride and honor after the violence we have experienced recently, which I strongly condemn. But I was proud of the work done by the Electoral Commission as we are witnessing the proclamation of the best election ever held in Guinea since independence.
Envoys from the African Union and the Economic Community of West African States flew to Guinea on Sunday on a preventative diplomatic mission after the announcement of President Conde's victory and as some protesters quickly took to the streets to oppose it. Meanwhile, in Guinea, opposition leader Sékou Conde Permanent vowed on Saturday to contest the results of the presidential election, naming incumbent Alpha Conde as the victor, arguing electoral fraud.
We are going to protest against this electoral hold-up through the street. We are in the process of building a case, which is very difficult since our office is occupied. We don't have access to our documents, but we are nevertheless going to refer the matter to the Constitutional Court without deluding ourselves. We have the real reports taken after the vote. When Alpha Conde and his supporters realized they had lost, they fabricated other reports. They went so far as to double the turnout in Conde's strongholds to be able to increase his scores in a way they thought was imperceptible.
Protesters took to the streets of Conakry on Saturday to oppose Conde's victory, as the police had barricaded Diallo inside his home in the capital city.
I am blocked at home by a police cordon, gendarmes, and a lot of police vehicles. No entry, no exit is allowed. So I am in this situation, sequestered.
The opposition leader, who had declared himself victorious before the results were announced, also denounced post-election violence that killed around 10 people in the country.
But what's more deplorable is the bloody repression that's being inflicted in the neighborhoods favorable to the opposition, where the police, gendarmes, and the army, you know that the army has been requisitioned, are carrying out all sorts of exactions, killing many people. They have shot and wounded hundreds, and they have arrested many people. There's ethnic incitement, of course. The shops of people who have surnames which identify them as coming from the same region and the same ethnic group as Selu. Their shops are burned, sometimes vandalized, as are their houses in Zerekore, Kisidogu, Kerouani, Kankan. We are in this situation of unprecedented state terrorism. I am also shocked to see that this savage repression is not denounced and condemned by the international community, including ECOWAS. In the fight against the third mandate, we now have more than 130 victims. There has never been a firm condemnation, neither from sub-regional organizations nor from our continental organization. There have been rather timid communiques.
Monitors from the African Union and the Economic Community of West African States had earlier said that the presidential election was mostly fair. The opposition leader has vowed to appeal to Guinea's constitutional court. On the economic front, Zimbabwe on Friday introduced a stock exchange market which will trade in US dollars to attract global investors and shield them from currency instability and exchange control risks. The new stock exchange is a subsidiary of the Harare-based Zimbabwe Stock Exchange and reportedly began trading this Monday. The new bourse will cater mainly to mining conglomerates and big international companies, such as insurance giant Old Mutual. Its launch comes at a time foreign investors are selling off Zimbabwe Stock Exchange listed stocks following years of limited access to foreign currency for repatriation of capital and dividends by foreign investors. On the football scene, Morocco on Sunday won its first ever Confederation Cup after beating Egypt in a match staged behind closed doors in Rabat on Sunday night. Burkina Faso international defender Issoufou Dayo scored a goal in the 15th minute to give Morocco's Renaissance Berkane a 1-0 win over Egypt's Pyramids in the 2019 Confederation Cup final, which resumed with a 5-month delay due to the coronavirus pandemic. That's it for today. Thank you for watching Vox News.